Kamala is not looking great on the issues. When this debate happens, it's going to be tough to find issues on which Kamala's views are more popular and her record is more impressive. We've heard in recent weeks that Kamala wants to tax unrealized gains, meaning, you invest in your 401k, say, and some years it goes up a little bit, some years it goes down a little bit, but if it goes up as it currently stands, you don't need to pay anything on that because you haven't actually made any money yet. You don't have any cash. It's just kind of numbers on a computer screen. You got money out there in the market. Kamala wants to force you, or at least force people above a certain wealth threshold, to sell their investments in order to pay taxes to the government. Kamala has really not said boo on the issue because she knows that it's a really touchy issue. However, we've just gotten confirmation that this is what the Harris campaign is talking about because her economic advisor, Bharat Rama, went on TV on CNBC, so it's a relatively friendly network, to defend this policy.
Unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word. In the very best sense, if you are taxing unrealized gains, all you're doing is pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone actually sells the stock.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way a stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
It's also, property tax is a use tax. You're paying for the schools, you're paying for emergency services. Those are things that make absolute sense.
And sure, and all the revenue that comes in from these unrealized gains taxes and the other taxes in the Harris plan are going to go to creating what she calls more opportunity. It's to make sure that every newborn born in this country gets $6,000.
Using the services.
Well, look, you're arguing that this is some sort of foreign concept that's completely unknown in the U.S. tax code.
It's probably unconstitutional. It's probably, and it was never in anyone's intent to tax.
It's not an income tax,
and it's never going to happen. Probably.
Yikes! That's CNBC. That isn't the Daily Wire. That isn't the Blaze. That isn't Fox News. This is a network that is at the very least friendly to the left, and they eviscerate this guy for defending the Harris, and before it was a Harris plan, it was a Biden plan, because Kamala doesn't have any original ideas at all, to tax unrealized gains. So this is, you're going to hear the rejoinder, which is, well, what about property taxes? Property taxes are a tax on unrealized gains, but as the CNBC hosts point out, it's apples and oranges. When you're paying property taxes, you're paying for use. You're paying for the school district. You're paying for the local community services. You're not paying because you in a 6-month period, your house jumped 20%. And so now you've got to go sell some other kind of property to go make up the unrealized gain. And by the way, next year, your house might depreciate. But also that was their point during this brutal segment. So that your house doesn't move in value the way that a stock might. And so then the next thing you're going to hear, which didn't come up in this CNBC interview, is that this unrealized gains tax, it's not going to affect the middle class. It's not going to affect ordinary investors. It's going to affect only the billionaire class, only the super wealthy who have X amount of money in equities, say. Even if that's true, this policy is still completely idiotic because it will force people. Rich people don't just have cash stuffed in their mattress, okay? We probably have this, I don't have this image, you don't have this image, but I guess the libs have this image of the wealthy being like rich Uncle Pennybags from Monopoly, and he's just got dollar bills coming out of his pocket, and that's not how it works. When you have money, you invest it in things. You invest it in companies, you invest it in treasury bills, you invest it in all sorts of gold, I don't know, whatever. And so you don't have access to all of that capital. If, under the Harris plan, Every single year, the CIA is probably going to knock on your door too, but the IRS is going to come knock on your door and say, money, please. That is going to force people at whatever wealth threshold it is to sell off their investments, which is going to crash the economy every single year in a predictable way, in a stupid way. It's not going to even probably increase revenue to the government, because if you keep destroying the economy every year as a matter of national policy, probably you're not going to be producing quite as much. So the plan is shockingly radical, as you heard even CNBC journalists point out. It's probably unconstitutional. No one has ever seriously suggested this before. It's shockingly radical and completely idiotic. And I think that sums up the Kamala campaign really well. Shockingly radical, much more radical than any Democrat nominee that we've seen in history. Someone who takes the sacramental view of abortion. This is the daughter of a Marxist economist, a fairly prominent Marxist economist. This is a woman who campaigns on the most extreme left-wing policies. When she was in the Senate, she was to the left of Bernie Sanders, but also completely incoherent, completely incompetent. So one thing, there are ideologues who are really smart. You know, I think of like a Herbert Marcuse, father of the New Left. That guy, extremely radical, but very intelligent, and within his domain of expertise, quite competent. But Kamala Harris, forget about all the crazy ideology. Point me to a single accomplishment. What has she ever done? She's basically not done anything. In as much as she has done things, they haven't gone very well. And then, of course, you look at her recent record in the Biden-Harris administration. Everything they touch turns to ash. So it's all the radicalism, all the extremism, with none of the fruitfulness of it. I suppose radical policies in principle could produce good results. She has never produced one. That was a great clip. Now hold up, ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We will see you next time.